Well, here we are. Situation is dire. It's just I wasn't able to get there to be a high enough quality internet connection here at home. I'm not using my computer, I'm using my phone instead. So I hope, I don't know that it necessarily will, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, I don't have I don't have anything to make this particularly good, but I'll do my best. Best. We'll stream from the phone. Anyhow, going back to what it was I was first intending to talk about on this stream, I wound up having an interesting week. Work. I wound up working with somebody that we'll call Mr. T. Mr. T was an interesting read or count. Like if for example you were to pose him, um, like counting to next 1, 2, 3, he could do that. Counting to 4 was a little more difficult, and straighten his head while counting to 4 was um, limited, to say the least. Anyhow, my coworker Mr. T and I all that much in common, except for the fact that we had to work together to get certain tasks done. And I wasn't working with Mr. T on Monday, meaning, of course, a week and 2 days ago or a week back. Instead, I was working with a friend who happened to be very, very good at what he did. We didn't even need to communicate all that much. A few words here and there, and we got everything done perfect. Mr. T, though, it was a little different. With Mr. T, he uh, everything due to the fact that you had to explain in excruciating detail how to do something very simple, and that doing something very simple is pretty difficult. So this was definitely having some trouble. Um, and a few other things were pretty common. Like normally you don't expect countries like Finland to wind up having illiterate people at all because there's well everyone here can read, everyone here can do something. And and to a large extent a homogeneous population, and the people are pretty capable of reading and doing other things, but things are going to go well in every case. I mean, we do have very can't quite get over that little detail. Anyhow, I wound up running into these problems that I mean, you might term INTJ problems. In that, and it's actually a contradiction I have. So it's a pretty nasty contradiction. I expect people to be able to think. I want people to. I want people to. I want people to be able to make decisions. And in making said competent decisions, I want to be able to work with people. Done for me is a priority, regardless of where I'm at. There's likely always going to be something to do. So even if it's relaxed, or if it's working, we're going to work and get a job done really well. if or it is, I'm a very goal-oriented person, and so when you don't wind up having people that are goal-oriented, or wind up having people that are just sluggish, or it really throws a wrench into plans. So if you if there's some sort of a deficiency up here that causes you to be unable to do something that you need to be doing, I would rather the person not think at all. So when I was talking with this Mr. T guy, I was really hoping that he would be programmable, so to speak. You know, if you go and you teach him 1, 2, 3, nail, 2, 3, you know, nail, 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 or nail, nail, next, or something like that. If you're teaching him that, then that if you tell him, just stop for a while, that he would stop. But then you go and start sawing boards somewhere else and putting random boards together. Nail, 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 next, nail, 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 next. Doing one pattern text or reason to be doing it, and then he winds up making a bunch of stuff that you have to you. And this idea that dealing with people that when you're dealing with people that um, are abjectly incompetent. So anyhow, it's basically spending a week and 2 days with this abjectly. I mean, it's and you know, I'm not saying that that's. I don't know why I even have to prep people are such ninnies that they're going to read more into what I say than what it is that I actually do say. But just for the sake of analysis, this doesn't have anything to do with somebody's intrinsic value as a human being. This has much more to do with just whether or not somebody can count, whether or not somebody can think. Um, so being in charge, so to speak, or having a particular project and being the only one in the room that actually knows how to do it is somebody who's unteachable, which is essentially what I was doing. So you come back from then you see this guy. He's just going 1, 2, 3, nail, or nail 2, 3 next, or whatever it is. And then he has this smile on his face because he's doing something. He's actually doing something. He's so proud of himself. And then you don't want to go and completely throw, right? Because he has such a fragile ego that you don't, just completely shut him down, and he's not going to want to do anything. Sulking and sabotaging and so on. So you have to maintain this artificial environment of positivity. Oh, you can do it! Yay! Uh, 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 you know that sort of a thing. And regard, I envy good special ed teachers, because good special ed teachers don't know. They get excited if someone can tie their shoes, and then the next day the person can teach them how to tie the shoes the second time. Well, my mom is a special ed teacher, and if someone learns that 2 + 2 = 4 one day, equals 4 the next day, she's going to be equally excited the next day. And I can't be, or at least I'm not. I mean, I suppose I could be, but that would be calibrating my expectations to something that's, uh, I don't know. Anyhow, so I was forced in many aspects. This patience and something, and I learned something. I learned that recalibrating. I learned that apparently Mr. T is responsible for my channel connection today. I am so sorry. I'm actually using my phone. Yeah, I'm using my phone. Oh, hi, Todd. Of lowering one's expectations beyond the point where one may think it's reasonable it's a glaring. I find it very difficult to do. I find it very difficult to expect. that if you say something that it be understood, and if it's not understood, that people would ask for clarification and as well. And I don't expect anything out of anyone else that I don't have a much higher expectation of myself. And so even when you get to the patients defeated, a blow to one's plans, it's a blow to um, because I've always had this idea that you give your best, and who knows, maybe Mr. T was giving his best. I guess this is a reminder why I don't work for other people. Why I've been working for myself for the past decade. Is that you this is still blowing my mind. This is still blowing my mind having to have these kinds of expectations. Well, anyhow, in throughout the course of a week, potato boxes and harvesting potatoes for 2 days or a day and a half, about 23 potato boxes less than I was intending to make, and then every single little thing that wound up. If you were given a task, or if I was given a task that was expected to, I would look at it and think of the nature of the task, and know that if, say, and I were doing this task, there's no way this would take more than 20 minutes. Absolutely no way it would take more than 20 minutes. And I was having trouble getting this stuff done in an hour. And it mostly had to do with the fact that Mr. T was expert. And Mr. T studied this in trade school. So and then if something was too complex, if something was like, if you're moving, it's all right, Matthew. It's completely all right. Uh, if you're working on a farm, and then you have this idea that peasement needs to be sitting down in a particular way in order to prevent stress and strain on peas, and you have to go and take the tractor and the move of the piece, sit it down, and prop it up appropriately. Well, it's all fine and good if you're the one that has control of the tractor, and it's all fine and good if you're the one that has control over the blocks. It's impossible to get somebody to even put the appropriate number of blocks underneath a piece of equipment in order to prevent it from undergoing a strain. I don't know what I don't know what to do. Let's do this right, because he would just sit there staring for like, and there was a particular delineation of responsibilities that involved, the 3 steps that it takes to move a piece of equipment. Too impatient in certain areas, and then incompetent in others. Um, so if you're, just I just want to get this piece down wherever he was going, and then set it down without thought of where it actually was, or what it would do to the piece of a particular spot. Whereas I was in the process of constantly moving pallets and trying to do things and get things as ready as possible, wouldn't have to think. But in the rare occasion that I couldn't outrun a tractor while carrying a pallet and a bunch of 2x4s, he just said the thing, "Picking this thing up." Really. Like, I can't out carrying a pallet and a bunch of 2x4s. It just doesn't work. I can't do that. There are certain limitations that I have, and especially it'd be something else completely different if I were just doing it once. But having to go back and forth and still maintain a positive attitude while breaking down, calling this guy an abject moron, and throttling him. I don't know. Me to use a lot of self control. It forced me. Um, to use a lot of self-control and to expect that, these putting farm equipment down in ways that don't cause it to have undergo torsional strain over time, or reasonably complex and big expectations, because a person doesn't want to sit there and see, oh, it's higher than the other. That means we need two by fours more on this side than we do on that. Difficult, and so it just winds up not getting done. I had great for this past week in 2 days or so, and doing my own stuff with me on the farm. Thank you for the upvote, whoever it is that came to stream. Thank you. Um, it's shown a light on my lack of leadership capability, abject impatience. Yeah, the Wi-Fi is really screwy. I didn't have so bad at home, and my phone connection isn't that much better. Too much more than what I've already done in terms of getting a good connection, unless I were to find a completely different place to live. But hopefully figure something out at this particular time. But I don't know. Anyhow, for another 8 minutes or so, and call it quits for today. And then we can go and resume talk after a while. It's all right. Um, well, um, anyhow, this has opportunity for immense personal growth. Hurdles I need to overcome. I need to get over my perfectionism. I need to get over my idea that things need to be done. And I need to get over my idea that people can understand things at a systems level and act accordingly. And that's kind of painful. I without needing to concede these points, because I don't want people are as hopeless as they are. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe people. And yeah, I realize that I'm working with somebody who can really. I've just had these. All right, see you, man. I guess I need to go and do a lot of contemplation to figure out what it is that I can actually do in order to both grow and still achieve things and still be able to bring value to other people. Anyhow, guys, I want to thank you very much for watching. In spite of this a horrible connection, try to troubleshoot things over the course of the upcoming a day, in order that tomorrow we can wind up having a nice conversation about the Iliad and normal stuff, and so on. I want to thank you, and see if I can turn. See you later.